Welcome to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I am your host, Jay Taylor, speaking to you from the borough of Queens in New York City. It is the 13th day in the month of December in the year of our Lord, 2022. Before I talk more about today's show, let me remind you that I am the editor of a newsletter called Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks. We do focus primarily on the mining stocks, exploration stocks, and some that I'm very excited about that are starting to move towards production that I think that are grossly undervalued in the market. And so I'm very excited about this market, especially today when the equity markets, they were really strong out of the gate. They've fallen back some, but gold and silver have held in there very nicely. So I'm very excited. It's if you want to sign up for my letter, go to miningstocks.com. Also like to let you know about Chen Lin's letter. What is Chen buying? What is Chen selling? You can sign up for that by going to chenpicks.com. And Chen is with me today, so we'll hear what he has to say about the markets in just a couple of minutes from now. Do want to thank all of you for listening to this show, and I want to encourage you to continue sending along any remarks you have about the show. Send it to questions4taylor@gmail.com, questions4taylor@gmail.com. I want to thank our sponsors for making this show economically viable. Today's sponsors, Irving Resources, Novo Resources, Gold Bull Resources, El Oro Resources, and Timberline Resources. I've titled today's show, Why Invest in Gold If the Dollar Remains Strong? Keith Weiner, Quentin Henning, and Chen Lin are my guests today. Keith Weiner's Monetary Metals company encourages investors to lease or lend their gold or silver to clients of Monetary Metals in exchange for interest payable in kind, in other words, in silver or gold. At the same time, Keith makes a very strong case that the dollar will remain and continue to remain strong and even get stronger relative to the euro, in the index. That's the euro, the Swiss franc, Japanese yen, Canadian dollar, British pound, and Swedish krona. Those are the other currencies. So Keith thinks we're going to see a very strong dollar getting stronger against those currencies going forward into next year. And generally, of course, a strong dollar is viewed as bearish for gold. So why is Keith touting gold ownership at the same time that he takes an exceptionally bullish view on the dollar? So we'll hope to get some answers from Keith when he is with us in the second half of today's show. The company Monetary Metals is a company that I have invested a small amount of gold in and have enjoyed 2 to 3% interest returns on that lease with Monetary Metals and gotten paid back in grams of gold. So it's worked out very well for us over the last couple of years or so, and if you're interested, go to Monetary Metals. You can go to my website at J Taylor Media, and there's you can just click on there and go right to Monetary Metals. You can just click on the banner there at J Taylor Media. In the second segment of today's show, Quentin Henning will join me to talk about Irving Resources. That's a company that I think is grossly undervalued. It is a company that I think, I don't believe that Newmont Corporation or Sumitomo believes that this company is anywhere near its peak in terms of its valuation. It's a business model that's very unique, and Quentin will talk to us about that. Irving Resources did have some very good numbers that they put out in November, and he'll be here to tell us about that and what that might mean for the company's future. But right now, I'm happy to tell you that Chen Lin is with me and to provide his latest thoughts on the markets as they draw to an end here in 2022. And, hopefully Chen will give us some idea of where he thinks they're going in 2023. Thanks for joining me, Chen.
Thank you, Jay. Glad to be here.
It's always good to have you with us. And we had a pretty, I don't know if it's surprising or not. I don't know if it surprised you or not. The CPI number came in lower than expected. I think the market was expecting a 0.3 for the last month, 0.3%. It came out 0.1%. And so the market is rejoicing today. The equity markets took off. Everything shot up. The bond markets were higher. Gold and silver skyrocketed higher to start with. And so the market was surprised, I suppose. What are your thoughts about the actions today, Chen, in the markets in general?
Oh, I think tomorrow is a Fed day, so there are always, concern before the talk. Jay Powell always talks tough in the past few conference, right? You recognize every time Fed action, and then he always talk tough. So he doesn't want to see the asset inflation. So that's, I think people just very naturally they take profit, and then they see what's Fed going to happen. What's going to happen tomorrow with the Fed. So it's a big reversal, but I'm very pleased to see gold and silver held well. We just talked about that. That's a very good signal. That means that people know where to put money, right? Gold and silver. That's where it is. So I know we recognize that the huge central bank purchase of gold in the past quarter, the highest in 30 years. The Silver Institute just announced the silver deficit this year is going to be highest in 30 years as well this year. So which they've reversed their previous prediction, which I said publicly they were wrong. But so things are going in the right direction for gold and silver.
Yeah, you felt that the Silver Institute was wrong because they weren't taking into account the amount of silver that was going to be taken off the market for green energy, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a key area. And as well as the silver itself, it's just it's a commodity, right? Mostly it's a green energy. We will see when they come out with the next year report. We will have this year's number. We'll see what the real number tells us. I think it's even higher, so we'll see. And then next year, they also Silver Institute predicting next year going to have a less deficit, and I challenge that. I do challenge that. Next year deficit silver deficit probably higher than this year.
And you challenge that on what grounds, Chen? Again, the green energy aspect?
The green energy, mostly it's the green energy because this year, the solar panel grow in China is about 30% range. But because there's a component shortage, there's a lot of silicon shortage, they couldn't produce enough solar panels to meet the demand. They're well booked, right? So next year, the silicon production increase, I heard it's going to be 100%, 100%. Okay, wow. So how much more, silver will be taken by solar panel? 100 million ounce or more. So how can we have less deficit? Unless silver go very, very high, people start selling their silver. Well, that's another problem to have. If silver stay around this price, we'll see. We should have another big deficit coming.
So if silver, in other words, you think that silver would have to go a lot higher for the hoarders to put it back on the market?
Well, for the people to selling their silverware for money, for cash, silver for cash.
Right. Well, I'm talking about
everywhere gold for cash. There will be silver for cash everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking in terms of people who look at silver as an asset category to own to preserve your wealth. In other words, against inflation, right? Like gold.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think those educated investors will sell. Seriously, Jay. Silver has top at 50. Top at 50 again, there's no triple top, right? So technically, there's no triple top. So this time, if we blow through 50, if we go to 50, they will not stop at 50. We'll blow through $50. So, for investors, for especially educated, I'm not selling it goes 20, 30, or 40. No, we're waiting for the ultimate, spike.
Right. Well, silver certainly has been outperforming gold, and when both the precious metals are running higher, when we're in a bull market for precious metals, silver usually outperforms gold. So if we're in a new bull market for precious metals, I do expect silver to outperform gold. And do you have, are you playing at Chen with some companies, some mining companies perhaps?
Right. I just sent out a list of quite a comprehensive list to buy. Right. So the silver company, there's different stages. I mean, I was buying a few months ago the very well-financed mid-cap silver company. They all go up 30 to 40% in the past month. Great. Right now, I'm looking at juniors. A lot of tax loss selling. Some are doing financing today or this week or next week. So there's a lot of opportunity. You can buy those good company at a very deep discount price. I'm quite excited about that.
Yeah, me too. I definitely some silver companies that I have my eyes on and talking about in my letter. With just a couple of minutes left here, Chen, would like to ask you about a couple of your favorite biotechs. Let's start out with Amorous. Amorous selling at about $1.70, I think I saw today, something like that, in U.S. money.
$1.60.
$1.60. All right. Even better. What are your thoughts about Amorous as we go into next year? Are they going to finally start making money or stop hemorrhaging at least?
Well, this is a very interesting story. Okay, I mean, this is my second round trip, right? 2 years ago, I ride it from $3 to double digit. I sold most of it. I kept some because I thought they may have a chance to go to triple digit, but it just went down very, very badly due to very terrible operation results, especially last quarter, Q3. I know a lot of long-time investors left after that result, but investors expect, more this quarter will be worse, and then company has to raise money or issue shares, which is, I wouldn't say completely wrong, but I think extremely pessimistic, right? So there's an article just published by my friend James in Seeking Alpha, who I'm going to show me the money. I think I'm pretty much with that, okay, because company already guided it. They're selling 2 molecules for about $500 million this month, right, this month. So they will end with this year with cash of, north of $300 million. So if investors see that, how can the stock trading at $500 million, right? There is technology developed in the past decade, right? There are billions of dollars pour into that, and how can this company worth $500 million? So that's a question. Again, it's my second round trip. I wish I sold them all when they're on the top, and I bought back too early. But I do think if people see the valuation, it can go back at least to double digits. Okay, let me tell you the asset. We can look at the asset. Okay, they basically can program using computer program to create any molecule on Earth. They are the biggest. They're the only company reach the scalability in Brazil. They build the first big plant. Right. I got attracted to the company. One of this is because of China. Chinese company are desperately trying to catch up with Amorous. Okay, there's many startup form in China, and I look at the valuation. I say, telling my friend, I'm like, gosh, if China can buy Amorous today, they will buy it for at least $100 at least, because the asset is exactly what it's actually very highly competitive to Chinese asset. So I'll give you one example. Hyaluronic asset, right? It's used for knee replacement. It's a special asset, okay? Use a knee replacement, hip replacement, and then women, their facial, those kind of operations, right? So all these are manufactured in China, 100%. And then it's about $1 billion. China do $1 billion, $5 billion out to United States, and then it's going to go to $10 billion in a few years. But they use fermentization. China use fermentization, but Amorous is next generation fermentization. You know what I'm saying? So they can compete. They can compete on price with China. But right now they don't need to compete because Biden came out, with all these trade war, right? They going to force company to switch to American-made product. So that's actually one perfect example. If you just calculate $5 billion, okay, Amorous is the only company can come in and take away market share from China. And $5 billion to $10 billion, supposedly 90% margin, you see this just on this technology alone can worth a few $100s, okay, if it work out. And it takes a few years. So if there's no dilution, my point, that's my point. There's no. And China exporting about 30 billion API. So this is just one tiny example. So you can see Amorous, if next year, right, they're talking about building the plant in America, sponsored by the federal government. So Amorous has recently asked the government for $1 billion. I don't know how much they will get, but even get $500 million, they can build a few Baja Bonitas in the United States, and then replacing all these medical critical products from China. For example, you look at our Canadian friend. One of my friends, they say knee replacement, hip replacement, need to wait for 3 years. We want to do that, Russian, or we want to produce this, right? All these critical component in the United States. So that's actually a huge opportunity. So for investors, I think we need to look beyond the current problem, Okay, the operation they does have problem. Okay, they burn too much cash, and they burn through 800 million cash. Okay, so that's the please. Actually, I'm pretty upset. A lot of people are pretty upset with the CEO. First, let them close the deal. It's supposed to announce in this week or very soon, this month, right? They're guiding this month. So we get the deal. We get the 500 million, potentially manufacture worth a few hundred million. So hypothetically, $1 billion with one of the big company, right? So then the company don't need to dilute, and then we try to work on that. There's a lot of shareholders pretty upset with the recent performance. So we work together on that.
Yeah, Chen, just the idea that for two molecules they're paid $500 million. I mean, people have to say, wow, wouldn't it be better if they could use those molecules to make profits that those companies that are buying those molecules plan to make?
Exactly.
I mean, if they could,
that's my point.
Yeah, if they could stop having to sell, if they could stop having to sell those molecules, then this thing is. I think this is a very much an misunderstood company, and we're out of time, Chen. But I'd like to have you on again sometime to talk more about this. Really explore it. I'd like to explore it myself more because I think it is one of the most exciting stories that I know about in the And I'm not a high tech guy by any means, but certainly because thanks to you, I've learned a lot about it, and maybe we can pursue it some more in the near future. But we do have to run now. Chen, thank you so much for being with me.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, hopefully we'll have the deal closed this month. Then we'll work on that. I mean, because the company, the biggest asset is completely ignored by the market. Just focus on the operation issues. That's a problem, but it's an opportunity, right?
All right, Chen. We'll have to leave it at that, and we'll talk some more about it in the future. Thank you so much.